Yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Can everybody hear? Everybody good to go? A little unusual, I know. We usually do a Sunday live, but I was traveling yesterday and I was just too damn tired. But should be good to go here. Should be good to go. Put a 1 if you can hear. If you guys can hear, make sure you put a 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Awesome. Cool. What's up, everybody? Kenny, Jab, Jerry, Frankie, Michelle, Timo, AP, Consistent, Kyle. What's up? Awesome. Everybody can hear clear, see clear. Let's do it. We're going to get straight into it tonight. Straight into it. No games are being played. Let's get it. Alrighty. Did I miss today's action? I missed majority of the downside. I did, unfortunately. I missed majority of the downside, but I caught a very nice long entry off that 503.50 for a nice scalp. Being an absolute degen I was. First things first, let's check out this economic data real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up and we'll rock out. Bada bing, bada boom. We're gonna make this quick and easy tonight, y'all. Alright? First things first, right? Obviously, we used to do this on Sunday, so right now it is Monday, April 15th. This is what happened today, right? This already happened, so we're good to go here. Retail sales came in a little bit higher than expectation. Market actually seen a little bit of strength and sold off once we get that news from the war news, right? I don't like to speak too much on stuff like that because that's just not my it's not my job, right? It's above my pay grade. But we're going into Tuesday, right? Tomorrow is Tuesday, April 16th. Tomorrow, to be honest, we don't really have much going on outside of Powell, right? Powell is talking tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is something we definitely want to take note of. This is going to be at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always. So make sure you guys take note of this. Outside of that, not really much going on tomorrow morning. Wednesday, though, I think we do have a little bit of interesting. Wednesday? No, Thursday, sorry. Thursday's the big day. Wednesday, not much going on. Thursday's the big day here. We have jobless claims, as always. Then we have PMI, which is at 8:30 as well, along with existing home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're pretty much good throughout Tuesday. Tomorrow's a pretty interesting morning. Evening with J-Pow, and then Thursday we have an interesting morning with jobless claims and existing home sales. Friday, on the other hand, April 19th, I think we're pretty much good to go here. Nothing big in regards to worry about in terms of data, so we're good to go there. Outside of that, yeah, not much going on. Remember, tomorrow's Tuesday. We have Powell talking at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, we're good to go. Thursday, pay attention to jobless claims, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have existing home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Outside of that, Friday, good to go. Tuesday, which is tomorrow, good to go in the morning. J-Pow at 1:15. Let's get into the charts, though. This is why I did this whole live here, because these charts are absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so can everybody see? I want to make sure everybody can see the charts. I know you guys can hear, but can you guys see? Everybody can see clear? Put a 1 if you can see. I want to make sure everybody can see. I know you guys can hear, but can you see the charts? Awesome. Cool. So, I'm going to do things a little bit different tonight compared to our Sunday live. I'm actually going to start fresh with you guys. Obviously, NQ, I've already charted. ES, I've already charted as well. But SPY and QQQ, we're going to go over completely together. Alright, so we're going to start with NQ as always, then we'll move into QQQ, then we'll go over to ES, then we'll go into SPY. We're going to have it running like that, alright? First things first, right? We'll start with NQ on the monthly here, right? Just breaking down the overall structure, right? This is what the chart looks like, right? I'm sure everybody can see just as much as I can. Right now, we're testing that previous all-time high resistance turn support, right? This is why I posted earlier and said that we're closing into demand. right? Because this is essentially just a big break and retest. We got that previous resistance, which we're now testing as support. That's not the that's not the concern here, right? That's not a concern at all. The concern is we've broken this range, which is a good concern because obviously that's a break of trend, right? Structure, for those who don't know, is always the recent swing low or swing high, right? So we had a beautiful rally base here on QQ, and there's two things that can come of this. One would have been a rally base rally, which would have been obviously a form of continuation, or two, which is a rally base drop, and that's what we're seeing right now, right? So we do have a very, very good setup here on NQ, which is this rally base drop. We just cleared the bottom of that base, right? So if you look at a chart, right, let's take a step back real quick. If you look at this monthly chart, right, this is an uptrend without doubt, right? We have our low, we have our higher low, we have our higher high, we have our higher high, right? And we have higher lows through and through and through and through, right? Awesome, gotcha. It's very important too. I want you guys to pay attention because when you're looking at multiple time frames, it's also very important you understand the structure of those time frames. So the monthly chart is in fact still very strong, and this is translating through time frames. I want you guys to pay attention as I switch to these time frames. So in terms of this monthly chart, we're just seeing a healthy pullback for a maybe a much bigger uptrend, right? We'll see a move higher. But what I really want to talk about is the move down in there, right? Because if you're looking at this monthly chart, there's not really much to go off of here, right? There's not much data to go off of in terms of a trade opportunity. But if you get down to the weekly, that's where things start to get interesting, right? If we look here, we have a nice double top, right? That's the first thing. It's an indication of a potential reversal, right? And then this past few trading weeks, we've actually had rising volume, so that's a good thing, right? It's a very good thing. Two is we broke that structure, right? So if you go down to the daily, that's where it's going to be very evident that, hey, okay, the trend is starting to flip, right? If you look through here, we obviously have our low, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. And this was our recent higher low, right? We had our higher highs through and through, right? But if you notice, recently, we've created a failure to go higher, right? Where we created a high here, attempted to go higher here, failed it. And then we put in what? This was our first lower high. Then we put in another lower high. And then this was our most recent lower high. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting, right? We have two lower highs here, right? This was our big structure that we've been holding for pretty much the past month and a half. We just put in a lower low. So this daily chart now is starting to flip into a reversal, right? But what we need to pair with here is, honestly, we need a retest of this structure, and that's what I wanted to talk about, right? So going into the upcoming trading days, we have some very, very clear as day levels to trade from, right? So the main watch, of course, is going to be the bottom of this base, right? You guys can see this was a very, very strong demand that held for pretty much the past month and a half. Well, that demand was just broken, right? So our job, or our game plan, should be look for a pop back into that 18,000, 18,050 area to look for a reject, right? It's just a classic case of support turned resistance, demand turned into supply, right? And what's most important is context when you're trading setups like this. Is the context here for us to be looking for a short entry? Yes. Why? We have our double top, right? Our failure to go higher. We attempted to go higher, started putting in these lower highs through and through, right? Then we just put in this new lower low. So we need to look for that pop back into that supply for a short entry in terms of continuation, right? So that's going to be my first watch here, that 18,000, 18,050 for a reject. Now, where can we go from there? As you guys can see, next big demand here is going to be down here at 17,700, 17,625. So if we do get that short entry at 18,000, my game plan is going to be try to hold on for dear life, right? Because we have room to run. So if I'm going to enter that short at 18,000, my first target is going to be back into these recent lows, and then it's going to be that next target down into this demand. If, for example, we get extremely, extremely weak, there's a big demand I want to pay attention to. That's going to be this previous resistance that held as support. So just to give you guys an overview, right? Main watch is a push back into 18,000, 18,050 for a reject. Now, let's say we get extremely weak, break this demand, and come down into 17,400, 17,500 area. That's where we can start looking for long entries, right? Down here in this previous all-time high resistance, turn support is demand for a long entry, right? This is the overall structure of the chart, right? This is very important, right? Very, very important that you understand the structure of this chart. So if we're going into tomorrow or the upcoming trading days, our mindset is as I just stated, should be very simple, right? If we're back into this 18,000, that's where we can look for the short entry. That's where the best risk to reward is. If we want to look for long-sided plays, two things need to happen. We need to get weak, get down into the 17,400 demand for a long entry, or, right, or if we reclaim this supply, that's when things start to shift, right? If we reclaim 18,050, that's when things start to shift because we just turned that supply back into demand and we've seen what happened previously, right? Every time that demand is held, we've seen an absolute nasty push back into all-time highs, right? So the last thing we honestly want to see is us get back above 18,050 because if we go back above 18,050, that's putting us back in this bullshit range, right? And then also puts it at squeeze risk from what's happened previously. So the ideal scenario is, as I just covered multiple times, 18,000 for a reject, that's beautiful, or continued weakness where we can take that breakdown down into that demand, right? And it's just that simple moving forward, right? The structure in terms of the upside, 18,000, downside, 17,400, 17,500 roughly, right? But the big point I want to make here is just making sure that you're taking the initiative to look at multiple time frames and examining not just levels of multiple time frames, but the overall trend, right? Trend analysis is super, super, super important, right? Because on this daily chart, some would argue to say we're extended, right? Or some would look at this hourly chart and say, well, we had a big red day today, we're extended, right? Well, go look at the monthly. It goes from, oh, wow, we're weak to holy shit, we're strong, right? In terms of the monthly chart, we haven't seen shit yet, right? This is not a pullback, right? This is nothing. If we're going to see a pullback, in my opinion, right, you want to talk about a real pullback? A real pullback is back to this, like, 16,500 area. That's when I'll be comfortable saying, hey, okay, the market's seen a good enough pullback. We can start looking for, long swings again. But this pullback is nothing, right? This is nothing. We're down 4% from all-time highs, and we just recently made a 30% move to the upside, right? Nobody's taken profit yet from their long-term holdings, right? We've seen very few names. And as I'm going through these stocks, NQ, QQQ, ES, and SPY, I want you guys to take a good mental note of what they look like, right? QQQ, trading at all-time highs, just broke that structure to the downside, actually confirming a reversal on this daily chart. So if we're looking at this daily chart, right, we can say, hey, this structure was just broke. We have a lower high and lower low. Trend is starting to flip. On top of that, we actually did break this major uptrend that held for some time. So this chart is reversing. But if you go to the weekly chart, it's reversing as well, so we have confluence there. But if you go to the monthly, we're still not where we need to be. So that's why I was just telling you guys it's very important to do the multi-time frame analysis. But let's translate those levels to QQQ, right? Big levels we need to pay attention to, right? Let's just get straight down to the hourly. An important keynote here, right, is look at this daily chart, right? We now have a bearish engulfing pretty much the last 10 days of price action, not only engulfing, but closed below that major demand, right? This is pretty much as bearish as it gets, right? And it's paired with rising volume, right? So in terms of this chart structure, we look very good for continuation to the downside, right? So my mindset is going to be very simple, right? As I just talked about with NQ, the level to watch is going to be 18,000. That's going to be 433 on QQQ. Or 18,050, which is going to be 435 on QQQ. So if we pop into this area, that's where we can look for those short entries. Or if we get weak off the open tomorrow, we want to look for short entries below that 430, today's lows, right? Reason being is because if we break this 430, we have that gap fill back down into 425. So the risk to reward here is absolutely great to the downside, right? So this is the game plan here on QQQ. Watch that 433, 435 for a reject, or below 430 to go short down into 425 for the gap fill. That demand that I mentioned on NQ is going to correlate to 413, 412 on QQQ. So the only way I'm going to look for long-sided plays on QQQ is if we come down to 412, 413, or, as I spoke about with NQ, we reclaim 435. If we reclaim 435, that'll put us back in the range, and that now will put us at squeeze risk for a move back in all-time highs. So just to simple terms, right? Very important line in the sand level, 433, 435. Downside 430 gets us down to that 425. That's what you need to be paying attention to moving forward. Very simple structure in terms of QQQ. Now let's move over to ES, right? For those that aren't familiar, this is essentially SPY, but the future. This is called ES, right? Now let's talk about some important factors here, right? If you go look at SPY, right, we would all say that this downside move is not a surprise, right? We have a massive bearish divergence here on the monthly, right? We go to the weekly, super overextended. Same thing here on ES. But as I posted earlier, we're retesting a major demand. Why do I say this is a major demand? Because this was a major resistance, right? This was previous all-time high resistance from 2022. Here we are in 2024 testing that same area again. That is why I said we're in a major demand. So with ES, this chart is structured a little bit different, right? We're going to have to approach this a little bit more cautiously in terms of levels, right? But what I really do like here is this monthly chart is now a bearish engulfing, right? We have this current monthly candle engulfing the previous monthly candle, forming that bearish engulfing, right? So this can be very interesting in the upcoming trading weeks or even trading days. What I want to pay attention to is a few things, right? So let's go down here to hourly so we can really break this down. Number one, right? Number one. The next big demand that I'm concerned about, or I would look for an entry, is 5,000, 5,020, right? As you guys can see here, this is a major resistance that was broken and held as support. So my game plan going into the upcoming trading days can be very simple. If we break this 5090, which is that previous all-time high resistance, now support and resistance, right? If we get below that, that's where I'll look to go short down into this 5,000 area, or we could then flip long for a relief bounce if we get down there. If you want to talk about like midterm pullback, right? I think that we can see a move, right? If we break 5,000, let's just put this in perspective. I think we'll get down to 4,900, and then the final target would be 4,770 area, right? You guys can see here, that's where that next major demand is. So if you want to talk about like looking for long-term buys, 4,800 area is where I would start looking for long-term dips, right? If we pull back into that area, which isn't, to be honest, like a long shot. That's a 6% pullback, so that's honestly very feasible, right? Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to blind you guys. So that's the game plan here on ES, right? Very simple. We break that previous resistance or support, get below 5090, we can go look short down into 5,000, get down to 5,000. If we show strength there, we can look for a relief bounce, with our main bounce area being that 4,900 area, that previous all-time high resistance. All right, very simple chart there. Reject entries on ES, not super fond of. The levels are a little bit cleaner on SPY, so I want to go over SPY real quick. SPY, right? The chart's pretty much similar in terms of ES, right? You guys can see here, bearish engulfing on the monthly, weekly chart. Finally broke that structure. Everything's pretty much identical, right? What I want to talk about though is where we're currently trading, right? The reason I said this 503.50, 504.50 is a major demand is because it is, right? It's previous resistance, turn support. We've seen on multiple occasions it was held as support. That is why I was watching this area for demand. So my game plan tomorrow is going to be two things, right? One, I'm going to watch it pop back into the supply. 508, 510 area, right? So if SPY starts to get strong, I'm going to look for a push back into this 508, 510 area for a reject entry, right? Now, if SPY continues to show weakness, if we break this massive macro level at 503.50, that's where we can look for those pops to short down into this 500, 497, and then 495 area. Very simple chart. 508, 510 is the supply. We go watch for a reject. Below 503.50 is when the party really gets started for the downside, right? If you look at this 503.50, it's also the start of this major gap fill. Below 503.50, we have a gap fill all the way down to 497.40, right? So this chart is actually very nice, right? Look for that push back into 508, 510 for a reject. Or if we do get weak off of the open, we can look for that push below 503.50 to go short down into 497.40. right? Very, very simple game plan here, all right? Now, I do like to talk about all the scenarios. So let's say, for example, market decides to pull a Uno reverse card, right? Let's say the market gets strong. If SPY reclaims 510, that's when we're like, hey, okay, shorts are off the table. If we reclaim 510, that puts us back in the range, and that's going to put us at risk for a squeeze, right? So we want to make sure if SPY reclaims 510 that we get the hell out the way, right? If we reclaim 510 and start to trade above it, that's when we need to be worried, right? So these are our line in the sand levels. 508, 510, it's our reject area. Then below 503.50, that's when we can look for short entries down into that 500, 497.40. Very, very simple levels to look forward to moving forward. Anything outside of this doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't care who else says what or what says who, right? At this moment, this is not where you want to be trying to counter trend trades, right? This is the start of a higher time frame reversal. We're not talking about little hourly breakdown. We're talking about weekly structure. We're talking about a monthly pullback, right? If you go look at how SPY has been trading lately, look at this. That's a $12 move today, right? A $12 move. If you want to go a little bit more in depth, right? Look at the ATR down here. I'm going to make this big for you guys, right? When's the last time that SPY has traded with an ATR in the dollar range outside of FOMC? FOMC being here. Outside of that, there's been maybe 9 or 10 days that we've had an ATR in which we've seen recently, which is good. That means volatility is entering the market. That's absolutely great. But also, you need to be mindful and stay away from those counter trend trades unless they're macro levels like I just showed you with that 503.50 or that 490, 480 area, right? So very, very important to understand that. Just focus on those trend trades, that macro supply, macro demand, and move forward from there. All right. Now, like I said, this can be short and sweet tonight. We've pretty much covered ES, covered NQ, covered QQQ, covered SPY. I do have a couple moments left, so if you guys got any tickers you want me to check out, feel free to post it. I'm going to go through my watch list in the meantime, and we'll see what we got for tomorrow, see what setups we got for the individual names. But I just really wanted to go over QQQ and SPY with you guys, and I'm going to go over actually a little bit more in depth, to be real with you. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let's talk about long term, right? SPY comes down to this 480 area. This is a no-brainer long-term ad. Not just a long-term ad, but a swing trade, right? Previous all-time high resistance, turn support. If we come down to 480, that's a no-brainer long-term ad. If I were you guys, I would be putting money to the side to look forward to add to your long-term portfolio, all right? So make sure you guys are putting money to the side and grabbing these fundamentally sound names on big dips. QQQ, no-brainer, pick up the dip, right? It's going to be down here at this 410, 413 area. This is the area we want to watch to start, scaling in long term. We can grab some here at this 410 area, and then we can add more down in this 400 area. All right, that's a long ways to go, but I just want to give you guys these macro levels in case we do get extremely weak. All right, let's get into these individual names. Let's see. We'll go through my list because a lot of the names that you guys are mentioning are on my list. So we'll go through the list and then I'll go through the comments. Let's see what we got here. This actually doesn't look bad at all. What is this, coin? Yeah, let me clean this chart up a little bit. Yeah, coin actually doesn't look too bad. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll go through the names that you guys are listing as well. But like I said, as I work through this list, a lot of them are going to probably be the... Oh, CRM. This is what I wanted to talk about. Very, very, very weak name today. We'll come back to that one, actually. Let's see what we got here. I know a lot of you guys mentioned Tesla, so we can go over Tesla real quick. I'm gonna do something I don't usually do. I don't usually clean my charts up like this, but I'll go ahead and do it for you guys. So let's start fresh. Everybody pull up their Tesla chart, and we'll go over all the levels together. Let me know when you guys are ready. Put a ready, and we'll go over Tesla start to finish. Drop a ready, and we'll rock out. Yeah, CRM took a shit. Alright, you ready? Cool. Alright, so first things first, this is the monthly chart on Tesla. First thing I notice is this massive head and shoulders. That's first things first. Outside of that, I see we're approaching a major demand. You guys can see here, last time we tested this 152, 155 area, sent us back to 320. That was almost a 100% move on Tesla off of this demand. So right now Tesla's approaching a huge demand. That's the first thing we want to note here. Levels I would pay attention to. Let me see. So Tesla, first things first is this 160 level. As you guys can see here, this has been the most recent major demand. Got a nice little flat bottom here. What I would watch on Tesla is if we can get below that 160, this is a free fall. As you guys can see here, if we can get below 160 on Tesla, this should be an absolute dead stock down into that 152, 150. That would be the next area I look to pick up Tesla on the dip. It's 150. If Tesla gets below 160, I think that's a great short down into 152, 150. That would be the game plan on Tesla. Right? You guys can see just as well as I can. This is a major support. If we can get a break and hold below 160, this should be a smooth move down into that 152, 150. So this is something definitely we can keep on watch for tomorrow. I add this to my daily watch right now. That's what I would watch on Tesla. In terms of the upside, I mean, I wouldn't really... If this 160 demand holds, I would kind of get out of the way. That's not a stock you want to try to short if this demand holds. So that's something to take note of as well. Either below 160 or I'm staying away. It's that simple. So we either get that breakdown of 160 or I'm going to stay away. Alright, let's keep it moving. See what else we got here. Let's see what else we got here. Give me 1 second. I got to answer this phone call. Alright, cool. We're back in action. Alright, what else we got here? So far, Tesla's a good one we can watch. Netflix actually looks pretty interesting here. Netflix looks very interesting. Very interesting. It's approaching this big uptrend that we've held for some time. This is the third touch. Also is this major demand here at 600. If Netflix gets below the 600 level, this can be a great short. Netflix below 600 That gives us room down to 590. So what I would do if I were you guys, do the same thing I'm about to do. Take an alert, add alert, crossing down. I'm going to name alert check ASAP, big breakdown level. So that way, I don't have to watch it 24/7. I'll get the alert if it breaks 600. And if we get that nice breaking hole below, we can look for a short opportunity. I'll put that on my side watch. Nvidia. Nothing really. Level. Oh, Netflix. Sorry, that's fucking earnings on Thursday. Sorry, forget that. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I forgot, to be honest. I forgot. What I do know is I didn't turn on my AC. And right now I'm freaking almost sweating bullets. It's so hot. It went from mid 60s to 85 today, and it caught me off guard. Meta. Hello. Meta actually looks pretty decent. Meta's been a weak link recently. I like this supply here at 508, 506. If Meta pops back in this 508, 506, I think we can look for a nice short entry there. As you guys can see, this is a major supply here. If we can get a pop back into 506, 508, I think that'll look very good for a short. It also just broke that 500 level. So what I would watch now is if we continue to show weakness, if Meta gets below 497.50, that should be honestly a smooth move down into this 480 area. There's nothing but room on Meta to the downside below 500. Yeah, I actually like this a lot. I'm going to put this on my main watch list for tomorrow. Meta below 497.50 or that 506, 508 reject. That looks very good. What is this? Is this Zoom? Damn, Zoom is testing all-time lows from 2019. Holy shit. We're going to talk about a big level. Here you go. Testing the same level it pretty much IPO'd at in 2019. That is absolutely insane. If Zoom breaks this 59 level, I think this will definitely see some nice downside to follow with it, especially being an all-time low break. I'm not too fond on trading Zoom though. It trades a little weird. I'll set an alert there though, just in case anything happens. Apple. Apple's been a good name to trade in terms of relative strength. I mean, right now it is sitting in this demand. If Apple holds this 172 area, I think that could be a good long entry if the market gets strong. But right now, it doesn't look like the market's going to get strong unless those levels get reclaimed. So I would kind of stay away from Apple unless the market did show strength. Microsoft, I actually do like a lot. It just broke that base. It's pretty much same setup as QQQ. Broke the bottom of this base, which is demand is now supply. So what I would watch on Microsoft is I would watch a pop back into this 417.50, 419 area for a reject. That actually looks very, very good. I'll go ahead and put that on the watch as well. And I'll double back in the morning and check everything out, make sure it looks good. AMD. I'll keep that on the side watch because it's in that major demand. What else do we got here? Amazon. Amazon below 182. I think we can see a nice move down into maybe 180. I'm not really very fond of this chart, but as you can see, this 182 level is pretty big, so I keep an eye on that. I don't really love that Amazon chart though. Don't really love that Amazon chart. Lulu, this is demand. This is the bottom line. We have to hold this 430, 435 area. It's that simple, right? You guys can see how big this demand is. And this is where we're currently trading. So
We could see a little bit more downside on Lulu, but right now the risk to reward is definitely long, approaching that major demand at 330, 335. Right now it's just sitting in that demand. Right, so our stop loss on Lulu should be below 330. Just that simple. First target is back into 350 and then 365. Starbucks still looks good. Looks very good. As you guys can see here, it's sitting in that major demand. It's that third touch of trendline support. It's also sitting in that major demand. Looks very good. Outside of that, I think we're good to go for tomorrow. I think we are good to go for tomorrow. You guys got the game plan with ES. You guys got the game plan with NQ. Got the game plan with QQQ, SPY, Tesla, Meta. So we got our hands full. We got our hands full. We got our hands full. I'm gonna get ready to rock out in a second, but before I do, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask them. Whether it's trading, business, entrepreneurship, whatever it may, personal, doesn't matter. Ask it. I'll be more than happy to answer. I'll be more than happy to answer. Crypto? Sure, I can check out crypto. Ethereum. Like I posted, I like Ethereum in this 2700, right? That's that previous resistance turn support. So this like 2800, 2700 area is where I'll look to pick up a dip here. If we pull back in this 2800, 2700, the risk to reward there would be nice for a long. Bitcoin. I mean, this 60,000 level is big on Bitcoin, as you guys can see here. But I mean, you could try like a high risk entry there. But on Bitcoin, what I'm watching is this 52,000, 50,000 demand for a long entry. I want to see a much deeper pullback on Bitcoin. Can I post this? Yeah, it'll be posted on my YouTube. So all you gotta do is click this link and you'll be good to go. How can you learn to navigate TradingView as a newbie? Just takes time. You know, get familiar with the platform, get familiar with how it works. That's most important. Is just getting the time and using it. How do you trade futures on Webull? I actually just started last week. I'm getting familiar with it myself. Once I'm comfortable with it, I'll put out a video for you guys. I have multiple in my YouTube already. I have a full desktop tutorial, a mobile tutorial. When did I start trading? Right towards, I would say probably options mid 2019. So a little bit over 4 years ago. It's going on my 5th year to be. Yeah, it takes time. You can watch it later. Just click the video, you'll be good to go. VIX doesn't really affect SPY. SPY affects VIX. So VIX is a mirror of an inverse of SPY. So when SPY goes down, VIX goes up, and when volatility enters the market, VIX goes up as well. So it's a great way to honestly hedge your portfolio or bank on downside movement without shorting SPY, because you're also going to make money on the volatility. Annotation tool, I use a tool called Epic Pen. Did I experience a blown account or rough patch when I was like, of course. It's a part of the game, man. There's no way to avoid it. There's gonna be ups and downs. The trading is like no other, and the highs are so high, the lows are beyond low. It's a hard career, right? It's one of the hardest ways to make easy money. Just think about that for a second. Let that sit in. It's seriously the hardest way to make easy money. A lot of people look over what it takes to become a consistent, profitable trader. They think joining a Discord or taking a mentorship is going to get them there, and it won't. Right? You could take every mentorship in the world, but if you don't have your trading psychology in check and you don't have risk management, it doesn't fucking matter. You can have a 99% win rate, but the 1% of the time you take a loss, you can still be unprofitable. And you can also have a 1% win rate
Literally, you can only win 1% of the time and still be profitable if your winner is bigger than your loser. So win rate is out the window. Is it important? Sure, it shows you have a good strategy. But what's most important is focusing on your profit factor and R multiple, making sure that your winning trades are obviously trumping those losing trades to the point where you're profitable and you get a positive profit factor. And I tell my mentees the same thing. As soon as they join my mentorship, first thing I tell them is this is not going to make you profitable. I can literally sit with each and every one of you 365 days a year, 24/7, and doesn't mean you're going to be profitable. One thing I can't do is trade for you. One thing I can't do is manage your emotions for you. And one thing I can't do is manage your risk for you. You can copy everything else. You can literally copy and paste my strategy, copy and paste my system, copy and paste my level system, copy and paste everything but my trading psychology and risk management, which is the most important. You have to understand who you are as a trader. And the first step you can take is journaling. That's a lot of people overlook it and it's not talked about enough, but if you want to become a consistently profitable trader, you have to journal. There's no way around it. If you're trading without journaling, you're trading for no reason. Do you think professional athletes just wake up every day, never review what they could be better at? They don't go to the gym and work on their weaknesses. You think boxers go into the boxing ring going in there with a bad left hook? No, if their left hook's bad, guess what? They go back and review it, they analyze it, they work on that left hook. If you think soccer players struggle with running, that they don't hop in the gym and get their stamina up, you're out of your mind. This is a job and a career like everything else. You have to take the necessary steps in order to get to the next level. In order to do that, you have to journal. How else are you going to know what you're good at? I barely know what I did on Friday in terms of trading. But if you journal, right, you know where you entered, you know why you entered, you know what position size you entered with, you know what time of day, you know market conditions, and that way you can go back and analyze that. Right? And you could say, hey, okay, I'm weak on these days, or I'm strong on these days, or I'm weak with this position size, or I'm strong with this position size, or I perform best with this setup, or I perform worse with that setup, whatever the case may be. And you can understand who you are as a trader, so that way you can pinpoint your edge. And once you identify your edge, that's how you get obviously profitable when you trade when your edge is present. Trading is not for the faint-hearted, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're in trading for the money, the door's open for you. The market doesn't care, I promise you. Journaling is hands down the key to success, period. There's no way around it. It's annoying, right? No one wants to journal, right? That's the corny part about trading, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Macro is just a bigger picture. Right, so micro would be a smaller time frame, like the hourly or 5-minute time frame, and then you got a macro time frame, like the daily, weekly, and monthly. How often do I take money out? It all depends. This year I've actually made 3 withdrawals. I made 1 withdrawal for $25,000, made a second withdrawal for $15,400, and I made a third withdrawal for $7,500. So this year I've withdrew about $62K total. That it brings out to like 15-20K a month if you want to average it out. Today I actually had a very good day today. Today I made a little bit over 5,000 being a pure degen. I'm not saying what I did today was a smart way to trade, because it wasn't. I had a 3K position in 0 DTs at 3:30 p.m. So that wasn't very smart in my opinion. But hey, it worked out. I went long right here. 503.50, sold back into these highs at 505. It was a 70% return. No, excuse me. It was 170, sorry. In literally 5 minutes. I had 3.2K. Yeah. 170%. I would get a CPA. That's what I would do. I use TradeZilla for journaling. They do all the work for you. If you're like me and you don't want to, type it all in, they do the work for you. That's why I use them. I'm actually a partner of TradeZilla, so if you guys want to use it, I'm more than happy to post a link for you. But it's up to you guys. If you become a mentee, you get free access to TradeZilla for the whole duration of my mentorship. Yeah, exactly. You know, some days are just worth degening. Today was one of those days where it was worth it. Today was fire. It definitely had a lot of FOMO though. A lot of FOMO from today. Yeah, 0 to D at 3:30 is never a good idea. That could have went so bad. But I was comfortable with it. That's what's most important. You know, say for example, I had a 3K position here. If I would have lost 50% of it, I would have lost 1.5K. I mean, I wouldn't have been happy about it, but I was okay losing it. I wouldn't have cried about it. And that's what's most important when you guys are entering a trade, that you define your risk. That's the whole goal, right? Keeping your losers in check, managing risk. How much money do I recommend? I can't recommend money for anybody, right? Everybody's different, you know. I could say a small account to me is 5K. A small account to someone else might be $500. You know, what's most important when you're funding an account or you're looking for a position size to trade? What are you comfortable losing? That's the bottom line. Bottom line. What are you comfortable losing? That's most important before you enter a trade. Planning your trade and trading your plan. What are you comfortable losing? Defining your risk. TradeZilla is a journaling platform. My risk reward is usually based off of the actual chart. So if I'm going long at 503.50 and I have a stop below 503, that puts my risk here at 50 cents. So if my system, I like to trade off a 2R or better. So if I'm risking 50 cents, I would like to see a dollar move or better, right? So I'm risking 50 cents to potentially make a dollar, which is 2 times what I initially risked. You could do it in that fashion, or you could do it off dollar amount. Say for example, off 503.50, you know, let's just say I had a 20% stop. I would have been risking $600, and I ended up making almost 5K. So that's like an 8R. So I made 8 times what I risked, which is an extremely great trade. My mentorship's actually open right now. It starts May 1st. You can use anything. The bottom line when it comes to journaling is that you're journaling, right? It doesn't matter if you use pen and paper. It doesn't matter if you use TradeZilla, TraderSync, TraderView. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is you need to be journaling. That's it. Futures. Right now, I mean, since Webull opened futures, that's where I've been trading them. I'm actually about to withdraw my money from TradeVate and put it in Webull because there's no need to have, you know, multiple accounts for futures. So I'm probably gonna move my money from TradeVate back to Webull now that it has futures. Do I think futures is easier than options for beginners? 1,000%. Reason being, it's a lot easier to define your risk. If you enter a trade, right? Say for example, today, right? We entered calls off 511, right? This is a trade we took today. We entered calls off 511. We sold back into this 513 area, right? That was a trade we caught today. Right? You guys hear me say this often, right? I entered at 511. Hey guys, max risk here is 10 to 15%. To be completely honest with you, I really don't know, right? I can guesstimate. That's why I say an area like 10 to 15%. When it comes to options, you never really know what you're going to make or lose in terms of the percentage because of the Greeks. It makes it very, very hard to calculate down to the penny what you're going to lose. When it comes to futures, right, everything is down to the cent, right? So for example, ES, right, for every $1 it moves, whether up or down, is $50. So if I go long here on ES off 50.90, right, and my stop is below 50.85, I'm risking $5. 5 times 50 is $250, right? So I know if I stop out at 50.85, I'm losing $250. Let's say, for example, I get a push back into 5100, which is a $10 move, right? I'll be making $500. I know if no ifs, ands, or buts, I'm gonna make $500, right? It's a lot easier for new traders because you can define your risk and it's not a guessing game in terms of what you're gonna make or lose. Not only that, you don't have to worry about Greeks, you don't have to worry about theta, you can, you know, longer hours, whatever the case may be, but you know how it goes.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Love that, man. Love it, love it, love it. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and rock. Damn, I was on here a lot longer than I expected. It's all good, all good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys learned something. And yeah, just click the link in the bio of this video. Yeah, you'll see my website and the Discord. De Janeiro, before it starts, so about 2 weeks before May 1st, whenever that is. So in about a week and a half, De Janeiro. You'll get all the details. Yes, sir. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and rock out. I appreciate every single one of you guys for your time tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your Monday to come hang out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys took notes. I will see majority of you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early, for some live trading. And yeah, man, hope you guys have a great night. Once again, thank you for your time. And yeah, peace, everybody. You guys have a great night. I'll see y'all in the morning, all right? Peace, y'all.